You're live.
Welcome to Slow News Day. I am Steve Poikinen, and I am really fucking angry. Again, I just want one day where a friend of mine or someone whose work I admire is not being censored, or they're not a subject of a BBC hit piece or any of that shit. Just want one day, one day. One day I may get that, but that day is not now. Joining me live is Ryan Christian, the last American vagabond who has been getting royally screwed with by YouTube for the last several months. I mean, this isn't the fuckery isn't new. What is new, and I'll let Ryan explain in his own words. Is what just happened today. And Ryan, please take it away, and thank you for being with me here.
Well, no, thank you, Steve, for giving me somewhere to get the word out. That's what this is what all of us are always telling everyone it's going to happen. Like, do it now, subscribe to our websites, it's going to happen, right? This is what's happening right now. And they always do it in a way to where you cannot reach everybody and let them know, so and so is happening, or I'm unable to, just let people know what's going on. And so what's happening to me right now is I suddenly found out that my entire main channel was deleted. Right. So the entire TLAV channel was suddenly deleted. It's gone. No email, no appeal process. Just somebody else told me that my channel was gone. So we knew this was coming, though, right? I mean, just to be clear, I said it in my last show that I knew this was going to happen, and not because I was challenging anything. I was very clearly making the case. I mean, I was bending over backwards, obnoxiously making sure that, like, here's the source material, here's the Pentagon study, here's why exactly what I'm saying is listed right here, like that kind of thing. And they'll probably censor it anyway, and here we are. But the best part is not, I've been planning for this. I'm surprisingly okay with it because I truly believe YouTube is the past. # boycott YouTube, because because of stuff just like this. But when I jumped on to go, hey, I'm going to jump on my backup channel and make sure everyone on YouTube planet still knows that I'm here and this is what happened, I went in to find out. And actually, I don't know if I can screen share. Can I screen share?
Yeah, in the bottom left-hand corner, there's something that looks like a monitor. It's to the left of the hand. When you move your,
yeah. I'm not used to this platform. Here we go. Okay. So let me find the right window. So yeah, that would be this one. Okay. So here is what I got. And this is really interesting to me because before I signed out to try it again, you could see my little, you could see, it doesn't say sign out. It said you had my little icon up there. Nevertheless, it says unable to access a Google product. I've never even seen this. And so you read into it, and the point is it even says your access is suspended because of a perceived violation of either Google terms of service or, specific terms of service, which means the point is I don't even have access to my backup channel, which, by the way, is still there. It's just simply gone. And by the way, since I'm screen sharing, just to point it out, I'm also locked out of my Twitter account because this is what it said. It said that, oh, look, this is what it said. Oh, password change required. We think something weird is going on. So I said, okay, hit password change, and the email went out and never showed up in my inbox. What do you know? And this all of a sudden happened right at the same time period. So I can't chime in, so I'm blocked from, let me stop my screen share here. Okay. I'm blocked from my backup account. I'm blocked from the main account, which is now gone. I'm locked out of my Twitter account, and who knows what's going to follow. Right. And this is just the point, to see this kind of concerted effort across multiple platforms. And they're doing this when there's no appeal process. There's no legitimacy behind this. They won't even allow you to know why you're being censored. I just don't know why people who defend this can't see how incredibly off the rails this is,
This is a new level. It is. And to the point to where, so you sent me on Twitter right before you got locked out a message, and it was about it was your video that you have up on BitChute, and I quote tweeted it and suggested that people drop YouTube like drones at a Yemeni wedding, and I can see that. I can see the notifications for that. About 2 minutes afterward, I announced the stream. it's not showing up for me when I go to look at my Twitter page. Like, I can't see it at all. It's gone. I get notifications for that, but I don't get notifications for your video. So they're hiding those notifications, and it's just they're trying to make it so that it is just exponentially more difficult for people to find this stream, to find out what's happening to you. And this is exactly what are you familiar with Crow 7 Shoot the Moon, that guy?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, sounds familiar.
So he's been referring to YouTube purges as a modern day book burning.
Absolutely.
For I don't know, probably about 18 months or something like that now. And it is yeah, I mean, I can't think of an analogy more spot on than that. This is, you know, information that you are making free or relatively free to everyone, and you're sourcing the exact same people that the mainstream media would source. You're just digging a little bit deeper, and you're not doing surface level bullshit.
There's so many levels to that, though, right? I mean, like, and this is what's so interesting about it is, first of all, at the base level, we've gotten to this really damaging point where people just have decided that these things are not okay because they're dangerous. Just ideas, thoughts, conversations. And so now we're at a point where that is now okay, acceptable. That's in the, you know, in the, what is it? The ovarian, or the, no, what's the term? I forget, you know, the window of acceptable thought. And it's like, now, thank you. Yeah. And that's essentially now allowable, that we can say, well, we've deemed this conversation too dangerous for society. And we need to realize how that's incredibly wrong. No matter what you think about that topic, whatever that topic would be, that's wrong thing. You can't be in a situation where you're objectively deciding or subjectively deciding who gets to be removed, you know? And the problem is that, so the next part would be that you have a show where you're sourcing material and you're saying things like we're doing, and then they're deleting it under the guise that it's in this dangerous conversation, right? And we need to realize that we're at a point where it's like exactly what Steve said. So I'm pointing to a document on the CDC website, and because I come to conclusions about it and state my opinions about it that go in a way that they say is dangerous, that's off limits. I mean, just realize how incredible that is. That how can we be at a point where my opinion about something is not allowed to be expressed on a public platform? Right. And then you even go a step further than that and realize that when you really want to dig into the things that people won't want to, when they want to just decide that I'm a conspiracy theorist and not talk about it, you'll realize that the discussions I'm having are 100% reportable, sourced, right? Factual. And I give you my opinions on things, but I'm very clear to state that this is my opinion. I will never state something as fact that I can't prove. I don't even cuss on the channel, right? I mean, it's just incredible. And I challenge anyone to go through the BitChute videos of the last so many weeks and my entire channel and tell me where what I did was somehow like unjournalistic or you know, whatever, breaking some kind of norms of integrity in regard to information. It's just simply not. And that's what we need to realize, is they're just not allowing certain conversations. I mean, we're at a point now where the World Health Organization itself is saying that the lockdowns are not what we should be doing. But you make a video saying that lockdowns are dangerous to the population and you get deleted. How does that even make sense?
Well, and it also goes along with this new, like, trying to control misinformation or fact-checking scheme that like Twitter and Instagram have, where it's like the moment. And it's not even like the story that they want to fact check is false. It's just that it goes against the official narrative. So because of that, you have these independent third parties who we don't know who they are. Like, we don't know who any of these fact checkers are. All we know is that they're clearly siding with what the official narrative is. And they're essentially just taking that as gospel. And anything that goes against that is some magic like scheme to try and brainwash the population against everything good and holy or some shit like that.
Totally. I mean,
you know, Ryan, this is Glory. Oh, yeah. she's my co-host now. And awesome. I'm thrilled about that.
Real pleasure to meet you.
You too.
I can already tell she's going to do well. No, but but you're totally right though. And like on the nose about exactly just how, I mean, just what you just said there is so incredibly unjust, and anybody can tell that. The problem is that we have these subjective opinions within that. You know, we can all acknowledge that censorship should be wrong, but the moment it becomes something that you don't like, well, then we'll allow that for the time being. You know, I mean, one of the last things I talked about was something like this, the Pentagon study about flu vaccines and coronaviruses in general, right? It's incredible that just referencing the fact that that study exists is somehow a taboo concept. And that's incredible to me. I made a point to reiterate it again, which is probably what pisses people off. They censor the video and then I show it one more time and I say, look, this is exactly what I said. It can't be wrong to state exactly what the study found. You know what I mean? I'm not even saying I believe that. And I may believe it. I'm just simply saying this is what it says. You should be allowed to know that. Censored. It's just, my head is spinning about how obvious they're making this right now.
You're literally just executing the scientific process, which is like just spreading the word and participating in, you know, sharing or publishing a story that was conducted scientifically, because that's how experimentation works. You run these studies, and because nothing is certain when it comes to biology, when it comes to life. So there's going to be clashing studies. There's going to be experiments that come out with different conclusions, and people try and share them because that's how fucking science works.
You know how frustrating it was the first time I heard people say that the science is settled on that. And I'm like, that's the most unscientific thing I've ever heard in my life. It's never settled. Things are always changing, right? It's just, but that's what they've slowly tried to change that. And you made a great point there when you're thinking about the studies. What they're trying to sell people today is that there is just a consensus. But the idea is that there are always challenging information. There's always been studies that come out that have differing opinions. Only in this weird new phase we're in do they immediately get attacked and they start attacking the character of the person that put it out. You know, it's like before, you're right. We had discussions about it and we'd say, well, that one's just completely wrong. But now it's become like a personal challenge against your entire moral stance, you know, and it's just crazy. What? It really is. You know, and I know out there that people are tired of the, go ahead.
I was gonna say, it's only been in the last 15 or 20 years that science has become a political weapon. And because it's been politically weaponized, that's allowed for this new avenue of censorship. It's allowed for a rising technocracy where we've got unelected billionaires who are making determinations on what is and isn't allowable speech on platforms that, look, there's no daylight now between Google and the government. So either they need to shed the perception that they're a private platform and have the same ability to regulate speech on their platform like a private entity does, or they need to fucking act like one. Either you're a publisher as YouTube and you have the same pitfalls and the same advantages as every other publishing outlet, or you're just the platform, and the platform exists so that people can come together and share ideas and opinions and discuss, verified fucking Pentagon studies.
Right. Or anything, or random ideas they had that day, or things that are completely unverified, right? That's totally okay, right? It's incredible that, that's where we are, that's just off the table, But I mean, what I was going to say, go ahead. I was going to say it before, though. I know, and I get it. Like, I was in the same boat before it was happening directly to me, but people are tired of hearing about censorship, and I get it. I mean, look, the fact that TLAV was just censored is probably the least important story going on with the world right now, but it's still, it's about what is happening around all of it. And it's not just about The Last American Vagabond. It's about anybody else out there who is potentially trying to show you what's really going on, and in a very objective way, giving you the tools to look at for yourself, and those people being attacked for not towing the line, and I've truly never seen it this alarming. And I think everything we've already been talking about, we talked about last time, like you mentioned, the technocratic rise that's happening, the complete restriction of your rights, the loss of your rights, the reimagining of everything we thought we had before. All of these things are happening while they're restricting our ability to have a conversation about it, while telling us that, I even just read something about the discussion about the bioelectric biomedicine part of this, and even like the contact tracing, where they're actually writing within this new technology and the way that we go forward, it will shape our future. And it just made me sick to think about that. I'm like, well, yeah. And then you're also not allowing us to have a conversation about that as you're writing our future. That just can't be allowed.
So let me tie it into some other stuff then, because it at least in my mind, which I will admit is conspiratorial by nature, this
is
seems
not
like
a word for intelligence, Steve.
cheers.
The great
This seems like it's an integral part of the Great Reset that a number of people have been talking about over the last several months. I was chatting a little bit with Corey Morningstar over the weekend, and she had a completely different, the subject that she was working on. She's actually done some research on the environmental impact of masks and mask mandates and what that has done to our planet, and all the same people that are telling us that the world's going to, burn or implode within 10 years are also part of contributing now to an unprecedented rise in plastics and trash in the ocean because masks are disposable. It's fucking maddening. But she was like, look, as this ratchets up, as this information becomes more and more hostile to the narrative, we're going to see broad spectrum censorship. And it's her opinion that this is a key component to a Great Reset.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, they've mentioned it in, Crimson Contagion, Event 201, or literally any other thing they did where they told us what was going to happen. And all of those times included censorship. I find this to be a humorous and kind of macabre point, but realize everyone out there that they've done so many of these simulations and never once did it end up where, hey, everything went well. Right? They tell every single time they simulate how these things will go, it's catastrophically disastrous and the elections are postponed and there's civil war. It's like every time, I mean, for crying out loud, they see where this is going. So they need to control our voices as they rebuild whatever they're doing because people like us don't allow it.
How much of that is predictive programming on the part of the people holding the event, and how much of it is just wild speculation? Because every single time seems statistically improbable.
Right. I think it's obviously a very strong portion of predictive programming, right? Social engineering. They're telling you, I mean, look, if every other week they come out and say, hey, we simulated this and it ended up in civil war, you're going to continually think that, well, that's probably going to happen at some point, right? You're going to start to see it in everywhere you look. This is what social engineering and predictive programming is, right? You're planting that seed, which is what we always talk about with truth. They're doing the same thing with lies and misinformation. So I definitely think they do these things for that exact reason. Like even setting the tone of saying, well, we're going to have to censor misinformation, right? Then they set that tone. They before anyone's even talking about it, they already set the term in your mind that they're censoring misinformation. You know what I mean? And so people then automatically assume, well, they said they were going to censor misinformation. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's the way where we are now is end game. I feel that in my bones. We're at a point now where they're pulling out all the stops and they're doing so with no regard for how obvious it all is, right? And it's up to everyone out there to do something about it. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep doing my show just like I always was, whether it's on a backup that might not be there, which, I'm locked out of Google apparently, but everywhere else, Rokfin, 3Speak, all of it.
Probably about a year or so ago, I was having a conversation with Sam+Tripoli, and he was like, it's, as weird as it's going to sound, we need to go backwards a little bit, and we need to start talking to people about, do you remember in the good old days where we had a list of websites that we would visit, and those websites were operated by the people who were putting out the information to begin with? And maybe it's one of those things where, like, yeah, it's great to have it all in one platform, but what happens when that platform just tramples all over everybody's ability to get out their opinion and their argument or their research or whatever it is? And in case people don't know, there is a TLAV website, which is, I'm pretty sure, uniquely addressed as thelastAmericanVagabond.com.
Correct.
Right about that. Yeah. So for the people who are watching right now, make sure that you go to thelastAmericanVagabond.com, bookmark that shit like right now, and I am going to, Ryan, put you in touch with a friend of mine named Sean O'Brien, who's a cybersecurity fucking genius. He's a cybersecurity lecturer at Yale, not because he's part of the big club, but because he grew up in that town and like managed to finagle his way into a gig there. He's got a nonprofit called Privacy Safe. He's trying to make it so that we have affordable to like damn near free physical secondary devices where we can place our information that we want protected. And he's got he is the open source community. So I'm hoping that, like, I don't know if Amazon hosts your server or not. But
I'm on dedicated server now.
Okay. I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, we'll help you in any way we possibly can to make sure that your information proliferates. That in light of the fucking just tyrannical authoritarian bullshit that's been going on, not just with you, but to damn near everyone that I personally fucking know, including me.
It's like a new person every day at this point. It's literally a new person every day.
Yeah. So we need each other more than ever right now. And I'm glad that if the whole COVID mess has done anything, it's sort of like helped foster a community of content creators who aren't fucking dumb. And who believe
you're right.
And who believe in community and who believe in these things like fellowship and stuff like that, to where we can, that without too much ego, come together and all support each other. So I certainly know that will happen around your show. You've created an environment where that's very, very likely to flourish, which speaks to, your egalitarianism, if nothing else. But it's a very admirable quality, and I'm so fucking pissed that they keep doing this shit to the only goddamn people who are telling the fucking truth.
Yeah, it's like we came off of weeks of the Julian Assange round of just straight up like rendition, show trial, kangaroo court hearings, listening to like CIA torture victims, just coming off of weeks of that. Then you hear about Vanessa Beeley and Eva Bartlett, and then you come off of that, Convo+Couch is getting pegged by YouTube now, and now all the stuff that's happening today, it's like you can't catch a break, and it's just so funny watching the national security state just work so hard to just suppress the truth and pretend like the very system of capitalism isn't crumbling before our eyes, and they're doing everything to keep it in place and keep people brainwashed to believe that everything is going absolutely fine when it's not.
Yeah, so true. So true. I think we just need to take a lesson from it, though. It's what all of us, not just people that get censored. And, it's like, I mean, to some level, everyone that's still working within the YouTube or whatever else, like I remember having this conversation with Carrie Wedler back before she was completely memory hold. And, and the idea that on Twitter and everywhere else and anti-war is that, that we all have this kind of weird thought that like, maybe it won't happen to us. Like maybe it's because I'm doing it the right way, or, but at the end of the day, we all need to see that it's going to happen to anybody who has the constitution, the gumption to actually stand up and do what's right. So we need to take the lessons from it, right? Subscribe to the websites, go directly to their personal location, subscribe to the website, subscribe to the podcast, follow people personally. Like Steve was saying, and Sam+Tripoli, take a step back. Right. They're driving us aggressively in this direction of things that are increasingly controlling your life for a little, maybe more convenience. Right. I'm going to go in the other direction. Right. I want cars from before 1980. I want whole TV sets. I'm going the other direction because I know what they're trying to build. So we just need to take the lessons from what they're clearly showing us. If you're not okay with what's happening right now, show them. Vote with your dollar.
Yeah. It's mind-boggling, everything that's going on, but to think that that using CDC and WHO material and making a point to use that, and to the point where, admittedly, you're a little bit obnoxious about it. Like, look, this is your stuff. I'm showing you your stuff. And for that to be the video where they decide, nah, no more. And just some fucking gremlin down the road from me, which by the way, I'm thinking about organizing a live event in front at YouTube here in
Awesome.
Mountain View relatively soon.
I come join you if I was closer.
But I think it's we need to go directly to the building and make a scene there. That is what got the little gremlin to push the fucking kill switch, and it was a kill switch. There was no process to this. There was no, hey, we're about to, if you don't, or none of that. There was no communication from YouTube for this particular bit of fuckery. And when you have talked to them, because you've shown your audience exactly what the communications are, we've talked about it, we've shown it on my show. It's this, it's hard to come off more indifferent than what YouTube's communications are with us when they give us strikes or censor, take our shit down. It couldn't be, if you want to know what a society full of automatons looks like, say some shit on YouTube that'll get you in trouble. You'll find out real quick.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's really the illusion of a process. It's not a process. Anyone that's actually gone through it can very clearly see. Like the last one I just showed on the show before this happened, it doesn't say what you violate. How are you supposed to appeal something you got wrong if you don't even know what happened in a 2-hour video? They know this. They're not stupid. It's the illusion of a process so they can go, see, we gave them the appeal process. I mean, the last one before that, I sent in the appeal and literally as I hit send, bing, I got the denial in my inbox. That's never happened before. I'm like, holy crap, that's insta denied, right? Instantly came back, It's just so frustrating. The last show that I just did, and it's hard to know whether it's that show or just whatever they, who knows why they decided to pull the plug. But it's just the last one in particular was just talking about Sweden. Look at Sweden. We're not allowed to look at Sweden. Don't look over there where everyone's still going about their lives. And, I was playing a video where people are walking up and down the streets. They're going to movies. They're sitting outside. It's right now. How in the world is that possible if what they're saying is true? I mean, even if half of what they're saying is true, how can you, they're not in some bubble. There's even cases there, we're told. If even part of what they're saying is true, that should be ripping through their population right now. It's not. Right. So I went over that painstakingly. I made it painstakingly clear. I went over the Time Magazine article and I pointed out every single fallacy in the article. And they're not okay with that. Right. I didn't lie. I pointed it out. I showed my source material. And the other part of the show was about immunity passports. We're not supposed to talk about those either, right? But they're very real. And I showed the source material and I said, here's one company and here's another, and here's where they say they're working on it. And that's not okay. That is, I mean, there's no way you can argue that this stuff is, that I did something wrong within there. The BitChute is still up. I still challenge people to tell me where I violated some kind of arbitrary rule, When
the immunity passport article came out, though I believe it was Saturday, Vanessa Beeley got a hold of me immediatand was like, do you think anybody's going to come apologize to us over this? and what I said about it on Twitter was that the people who dismissed us as conspiracy kooks back in late January, February, even into March, when we were talking about this like it was an eventuality and an inevitability, they're going to see this as a good step in part of the new normal. And well, none of the people who are sick are ever going to be able to travel ever again, and immunity passports are good, actually. And that's how it's going to be spun, and it's how it's going to be delivered, unless we can figure out a way to get those people on board to these channels and get them exposed to this information. And with YouTube being the second largest search engine on the planet and its parent company owning the first largest search engine on the planet, that seems like an uphill climb. Do you have any suggestions or thoughts as to how we could make that happen?
I genuinely think that people need to stop using YouTube. I still argue the same thing I was saying before. I don't think content creators who are actually trying to reach people on YouTube should stop putting it on YouTube. There's no point to that. I even now that I'm on the other side of this argument, I still feel that way, right? There's no reason to then hound everyone else still there and be like, leave, you're helping them. Reach the people that are there. That's paramount. But I think people out there that have no reason to be putting content there, go anywhere else. Go every other platform possible. They all have chats. They all have communities. Just find a different one. YouTube is literally destroying everyone's life, or rather the entities they're working with. You know, this is what's coming. You know, I mean, I just pointed out a tweet in regard to Operation Warp Speed, which is, again, a big no-no right now. You're not allowed to talk about this very dangerous, alarming, unvetted scenario that we're supposed to just ignore. That Google is part of Operation Warp Speed. Google's YouTube is censoring information about their vaccines. That's literally a conflict of interest, right? It's just, but we're the problem. You know, it's like, we're not supposed to pretend like that, but they give it this air of like, you know, how dare you suggest we would do something wrong, right? I'm the righteous YouTube. We only fight for freedom and liberty. You know, that's the air they give when you try to attack them for these things. But it's obvious that we have the question to ask. You know, they're right now, they are abusing the system to benefit their own interests. I don't know what else to call that.
Well, I feel like there's an element of fear involved as well in people being in the media manufacturing these narratives that like, oh, the only solution to this is like a Bill Gates, Google, Alphabet vaccine. Like there's going to be nothing else that can save us. Otherwise, we're all going to die in 2025, like shit like that, where it's like, so we're just not going to pay attention to Cuba's treatment. We're just not going to pay attention to what's happening in Sweden. We're just not going to talk about what happens in other places because that's how good, honest journalism works. Like,
right. It's incredible how much is being ignored. One of the other videos that was just recently censored, like instantly, was Robert Inlakesh's video about what's happening in Gaza right now, you know, and it's clear that these things are also off limits, you know, and this was literally sourced from the ground. Nope, not allowed, not on YouTube, you know, and all of this stuff is exactly like you're saying, that they're framing it as the negative actions are being framed as the savior of where we are. You know, as he said, the immunity passports are giving you back your freedom. It's like, well, no, you took our freedom. We don't need that thing to get it back. You know, it's across the board, unjust in every possible way. And I think that what we need to do is, and this is one of the reasons why I got Robert involved, we really need to be focusing more about what's going on overseas. Like you said, we're missing a lot of it. I'm just kind of scrolling real quick to see some of the things that I had brought up that I didn't. Now I'm not going to be able to talk about. You know, the U.S. drone strike just killed, they're saying, 2 al-Qaeda fighters in Syria, but as well as 2 civilians. That doesn't get reported about. You know, but I thought we were leaving Syria, right? I mean, there's all these different things. I don't know if you guys saw the U.S. rejecting the whole New START treaty. You know, and it's just all these things are so very obvious, and Putin's like saying no issues, no preconditions, and they're like, no way, screw that. You know, it's like, it's just so
Russia's
crazy.
Foreign minister just called Trump the most dangerous president to Russia since the Cold War.
That's interesting.
Oh, no, Steve, that's not true. Steve, that's not true. Trump is a Putin puppet. I don't know what you're talking about, Steve. Trump is a Putin puppet. Was watching Rachel Maddow last evening. There was
said.
Hey, come on now. You know her, Steve.
But I mean, we've got the Russian government on record multiple times, especially when Trump moved NATO headquarters out of Germany and into Brussels, I believe. Is it Brussels or Belgium? I can't remember which. But at any rate, the reason cited by the DOD was Russia presents an increasing threat to the region, so we're going to relocate our troops there as a countermeasure to their aggression.
It doesn't exist. Yeah.
And you created the INF as well.
Right. Well, that's one that I was covering forever. I mean, it was verifiably, I mean, the idea that the U.S. government was doing the very thing that they said everyone else was doing is now a verified fact. They tested a weapon, I think it was like a couple weeks after they stopped the treaty, which means they were building it before. There's no way you could have that ready 2 weeks after they end the treaty. So even the process of creating that weapon was a violation of the treaty, right? So they don't even care that we see that they were doing it. And they used China as the excuse. as saying, well, China's not involved in this thing, so we can't, but Russia bad guy, and that's every single time. I mean, I don't see why we can't see these obvious deceptions in foreign policy and not ask why or if they're capable of doing it to us. I said the same thing when this all started, that we are the ones under US sanctions now. That's what's happening. We're being scared and to a point to where we really don't care what they provide us with, which will be the technocratic future. That's sanctions, in other words.
No, that's an excellent way of putting it, and I agree with that completely. I don't know how much time you have. I'm sure you got a bunch of other people that you need to talk to. So I'm not going to keep you here, super long, but I want to make sure that the people who are watching and real quick, this is as soon as we're done here, I'm going to, hopefully Josh has this recorded and then we'll upload it to YouTube and run it as a premiere so that there can be a live chat for it. Because I want to watch it get demonetized in real time. I want to see if it gets taken down. But we're in the process of downloading everything that my channel has done. Getting ready to launch a website that's a little bit overdue, but I don't know how to do this, we've got to make sure that the information that we've talked about survives,
right?
Because you can be deleted entirely from the internet. You can. When people say the internet is forever, that's not necessarily true. Right. Like you can be erased, and so good.
Oh, I was just saying, yeah.
But it's happened to me personally. Like I know a number of people that's happened to. So we've got to make sure that the information is in as many places as humanly possible. Aside from the website, where do you recommend people watch you, and where can you live stream on BitChute? I don't know enough about BitChute.
No, that's one thing that's too bad, because I do like BitChute's been really reliable in regard to just keeping the content there, so that's one thing I like. But I am, like you said, first of all, just to reiterate, the www.thelast.americanvagabond.com. That's where everyone should go right now to make sure that you do not lose touch with this content, because the videos are posted in article form just every single time we do a show. Also on the subscribe tab, subscribe to the podcast, because that's also an audio version, and it's a way to make sure you're not missing anything. Other than that, I would argue right now just to go to all of these alternative platforms. You take your pick, because I'll be on all of them. Rokfin, 3Speak, BitChute, Brighteon. Shoot, I don't even know. There's a bunch of them. There's like this video dot. What's that?
I've seen you on Library. You got to get your stuff up there.
Yeah. Library, DLive. I mean, literally, like you want anybody out there, if I don't know of a new platform, send it to me. I'll have a new account by tomorrow. It's going to be everywhere we can possibly put it right now.
Check out PeerTube as well. PeerTube.
You should find people who aren't totally brainwashed and see about doing the Last American Vagabond Roadshow.
Yeah,
take that shit to a fucking theater and go do the show for an hour and a half for 2 hours. Like, I'm not kidding. I'm not. I think we need something that's like, the fucking information minstrel show type thing, where I think that would be phenomenal. I know that Sam and Eddie Bravo and shit have done that sort of, where they've done they'll do an hour of stand up, then they'll go into a smaller room and go do tinfoil hat in front of an audience.
Oh yeah, that's cool. Yeah, in the age of COVID, that seems that difficult, of course, but that's a good idea.
Yeah, and some people in the Rokfin chat are recommending brand new tube. I don't know too much.
Brand new tube is something I tried. They won't let me upload videos. I've tried to get in contact with anybody and it just won't let me do it. Every time I put something on, it just says it won't let me. So yeah, if anybody out there knows brand new tube, I'd love to be on it. I've tried like 4 or 5 times actually. But what did Josh say? PeerTube? Yeah,
PeerTube.social.
PeerTube. PEER. Got you.
Yeah, it's a it's a decentralized one. You can run your own server and shit too if you have to go that route.
All right. Well, I'd also throw out there for everybody. My email is very simple, right? If you want to contact me, Ryan at thelastamericanvagabond.com. We have our dedicated server on the website set up now, so it's more difficult to remove. Reach out to me personally if you'd like to set something up, because, you know, I want to get this word out as much as possible.
Hell yeah. Well, there you have it, folks. This is just, yeah, one more. When I was pulling up to work today, because it was last Monday when Whitney got a hold of me about Vanessa and about Eva Bartlett, I'm like, am I gonna get another phone call today? And I made it to like my road before I saw what was going on with you. It's a fucking cartoon, man. It really is. Ryan Christian, Last American Vagabond, www.lastamericanvagabond.com. Go to it, bookmark that shit, and make sure that you're keeping up with it. It's gonna take a lot of retraining people to get them to, you know, rewiring before people are like, I need to go to that website. You know,
Right.
One of the biggest pitfalls of social media, YouTube aggregation, is that nobody's willing to go outside of that little bubble anymore to go find real information. So we got to hammer that point home every time we're on the air at all. I think it's what it's gonna take.
Set up a mailing list too, that you can send an email every time you go live. That'll
yeah, definitely.
That helps too.
Yeah, Lee+Camp does that shit. I get several of those.
Well, I haven't pushed it enough in the past, but I have our Wire group, wire.com. It's sort of like a messaging app. Mm-hmm. It's an encrypted one. And so basically I do that. I have only about 50 people on the group, but if you want to look up wire.com and search for Last American Vagabond, I'll add you to the group. I send out a ping directly from my phone to everybody in the group every time I do a show.
Nice.
So that's one way to do it as well.
Nice.
Solid. All right. Well, do you have any closing thoughts here, man?
All I'd like to say again is just to reiterate that I'm even right now, I'm seeing people like send, so on my phone, I can see the Twitter notifications pop up, but if I click on it, it tells me that I'm blocked. So I'm locked out. So anybody out there, I can't access my Twitter DMs. So email me directly, call my office line, 615-905-5185. Just reach out to me, because I'm like Jason+Bermas just sent me a message and I'm like, shit, I don't know what he said. I can't get back to him. So everybody's got to directly call me.
Let Jay know. Let Jay know, Steve.
Thanks for having me on, Jay.
Do you have his number? Because I can text him right. Like,
I don't think I have a personal.
Okay, I'll hit him up. Right? Do you mind if I pass your number over to him?
No. Yeah, right. Okay. Give him right ahead.
I will do that right now then. Glory, what you got?
Fuck everything. That's all I have to say. It's like the system is crumbling and everybody and the fucking security state is trying to make it seem like it's not. But if you go out on the streets, you can clearly tell that it is. If you go into like any media sphere that isn't just constantly deep throating a boot, then you can tell that the system is crumbling. So just stay ready. You ain't got to get ready.
Good one.
That's that's sound right there. All right. Well, I'm Steve Poikinen. This has been Slow News Day. Fuck, man. Good luck to us all.